call me if you've been drinking. You know I would rather pick you up at the bar than some
police station? Yeah, I know.
And I'm glad.
So are you sure you're okay to drive?
Oh yeah, I'm
I
fine.
don't want to drink today.
No, okay.
Alright, you sure you don't want to take the bus?
No, it's cool.
Alright.
Yeah, man, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Alright.
Hello? Yes, that's me.
Lackey, I regret to inform you, your son has been in an accident. He unfortunately did not survive.
No. No.
When you're behind the wheel of a car, your responsibility should be to pay attention to the road. We believe that because the risks, dangers, and consequences distracted driving can bring to yourself and others on the road, you should choose to focus entirely on driving and driving alone when you're behind the wheel of an automobile. Hello everyone, my name is David Lackey, and today I would like to persuade you to avoid driving while under the influence of most common types of impairment, avoid criminal charges and the financial costs associated with, and to avoid injury to yourself and other persons. Translate. What are the most common types of impaired driving besides alcohol-related impairment? According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, marijuana is the second most common drug linked to drug driving. Operating a motor vehicle after marijuana consumption increases the risk of an accident. When consumed, marijuana has been proven to slow reaction time, impair judgment of time and distance, and decrease motor and cognitive function. Roughly 7% of drivers who were involved in fatal traffic accidents tested positive for THC, which is the prominent ingredient in marijuana. According to the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, also known as MAD, over a third of teens mistakenly believe that they drive better under the influence of marijuana. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, in 2013, the National Survey on Drug Use and Health estimated 9.9 million people aged 12 or older admitted driving under the influence of illicit drugs during that prior year. Cocaine is another widespread drug that is becoming more and more common with drug driving. Cocaine is dangerous because it speeds up the heart rate and causes a rise in blood pressure. This may cause a driver to become aggressive and reckless when behind the wheel of an automobile. Mixing two or more drugs together is also referred to as synergism. This may cause an increase in the effect of one or more of the consumed drugs. Now that you understand a few of the common drugs associated with impaired driving, let's talk about the consequences of operating a motor vehicle under the influence. In 2011, according to the Florida Department of Motor Vehicle Records, there were 33,625 DUI convictions in Florida alone. Florida penalties for the first DUI conviction include a fine up to $500, 50 hours of community service, 9 months of jail time, and a license revocation with a minimum of 180 days plus 12 hours of DUI school. This does not include all of the court fees and lawyer fees associated with the charges, which can easily reach up to $5,000 and head north from there. Section 316.193 Florida statutes requires ignition interlock devices to be placed on vehicles of persons convicted of DUI. This prevents the vehicle from starting until the driver blows a blood alcohol level under 0.05. This device may cost up to $500 depending on the length of rental time. Insurance rates also skyrocket after conviction of a DUI. Insurance agencies actually have a categorization for high-risk drivers, which include DUI convictions. Expect premiums to increase substantially while requiring you to pay the inflated amount for a minimum of 3 years. DUI convictions require you to take time away from your job also. This will consequently affect your income, forcing you to attend court hearings and perform community service, not to mention possible jail time if there is any person, property damage, or if this is a repeat offense. Not only are these costs associated with impaired driving critical, but the effects of causing injury to yourself or other persons are far more serious. More people die on our highways than in any other mode of transportation here in the United States. According to the National Transportation Safety Board, in 2009, there were 3,952 fatally injured drivers that tested positive for drugs. 1 out of every 3 drivers killed in a motor vehicle accident tested positive for drugs. In 2010, a nationwide study of fatal crashes found that 46.5% of drivers who tested positive for drugs had used a prescription drug. The most common prescription drugs they found were Xanax, Vicodin, Oxycontin, and Valium. These prescription drugs create quite the impairment, especially when behind the steering wheel of a motor vehicle. Young adults and teenagers are not the only group associated with drug driving. Between 1993 and 2010, we have seen a 12% increase of drug drivers over the age of 50 who belong to fatal-related accidents. We are seeing a constant increase with drug driving in adults over the age of 50. According to the National Institute of Drug Administration, 9 out of 10 people aged 65 years or older take 1 or more prescription drugs. In 2012, 5,560 older adults were killed in motor vehicle crashes. Meanwhile, in 2013, 2,163 teenagers between the ages of 16 and 19 were killed in motor vehicle crashes, according to the Center for Disease Control. Hopefully by this point, you understand how serious this problem is, not only in our country, but throughout the entire world. If we can all put forth effort to abstain from operating a motor vehicle while under the impairment of drugs and alcohol, then together we can avoid receiving criminal charges, the financial costs that are associated with, and injuries to yourself and other drivers on the road. Nobody deserves to be woken up at 3 a.m., especially to be greeted at your doorstep by a law enforcement officer with terrible news concerning the fatality of a loved one. Imagine how cruel this experience must be for the affected family members. Together we can save lives, one driver at a time. I leave you today with a challenge. The next time you're impaired while sitting in the driver's seat of a vehicle, think about your loved ones at home who would be answering the doorbell at 3 a.m. to hear about your fatality and result of impaired driving. Thank you guys.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide.